I have to thank you before we start this. We go in depth, Jack. You've talked. I get terrible, terrible stage fright when I do stand up, and your affirmations. Like, I never get nervous acting in a film because there's other people, but when I have to get out there by myself, I always use the affirmation, I'm here to tickle myself. I'm here to, I release and destroy the need to be funny. I'm just here to tickle myself, be myself, and have fun.
Yeah,
and that
Alec and I
really
have
changes
talked
everything.
about this at length, and what you're sharing right now are some of the, I call them actor affirmations, and they're things we say to ourselves to let anxiety go.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to use that when I start making my videos eventually. I'm here to tickle myself.
I've called you like right before gigs. I remember one time I was co-hosting The View and I called you right beforehand and I was super nervous, and you've talked me off a lot of cliffs is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because feelings aren't facts. Every feeling is caused by a thought. So really what was happening is your vulture, I call our ego, the half of us that wants us to fail. I call that our vulture, and it sits on our shoulder and says things that make us feel bad, makes us feel anxiety, or what you're calling nervous, which is really just excitement mixed with anxiety. And I just gave you things to say to your vulture to let your vulture know you weren't interested in the things he was saying at that time.
What I'm interested in, Jack, is how did you personally arrive at this discovery of these of this works and this is what I'm going to do?
Well, Matthew, you really nailed it when you said I want these videos to be great, right? That's what you said. But and that's the key, is understanding that it's okay to want your series to be wonderful, but you mustn't need it to be. And that's the secret to happiness, is understanding the difference between want and need, because need is fear-based. Need says, I'm not good enough without this, or I know what's best for me and you don't. And so when I realized that, and I learned that, I knew that I was addicted to negative thinking based on my upbringing or just genetically who I am. And I wanted to let it go. And I was discovering these things that they called affirmations by Louise Hay or Marianne Williamson. But then I got my breakthrough moment. And this is something that I didn't find anywhere. No one's teaching this. And so I really am excited that I get to share it with your audience today. I was at
your mic is hitting your collar, and every time it does, you're like Lena Lamont singing in the rain. It's like...
I had to dig this out of a drawer. It was tangled in a million different tangles. Anyway, So anyway, I was at a dinner party, and this quote unquote psychic was there, and she mentioned this concept of I release and destroy my need for ... And for me, that was the breakthrough moment that alleviated all anxiety in my life, because I realized that if my vulture was saying you need to book this job, that if I say to the vulture, look, I want to book the job, but I release and destroy my need to book the job, then my vulture would shut up, then the pressure would roll off, and I would end up having a much better chance of booking.
Jack, would you say that is it kind of the same thing to say it another way as surrendering the need for control and attachment to outcome? Is that like a similar thing?
That's just a different topic, and that would be something you'd say to your vulture if your vulture's saying you need... you know, that's a beautiful statement that you just said. And I would just say that your vulture is speaking in very specific terms. You want to make sure you're replying to it in just as specific terms. And basically the reply could almost always be, I release and destroy my need for whatever it is you're saying. And then it will learn, okay, so he'll no longer fall for that. They're not interested in talking about that. And they'll move on to some other reason why your life is crud. And so I usually have to talk my vulture down about 7 points before it finally gives up and gives me, 10 minutes of blissful silence in which I can shine my light joyfully.
So you said that it needs to be kind of in specific terms. Are there specific terms that should generally be used for everybody, or does everybody need to kind of craft their own like tailor-made specific term? Because I've heard Brene Brown call it like her gremlins. So like, do we need to say, like what?
Bill Hader calls it his monkey. You can call, every New Age spiritual or religion or AA is saying the same thing. And it's all about choosing love over fear. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's your experience. You just want to get any thought that makes you feel pressure or anxiety. You want to just stop that, because it's not helping your life at all. It's the half of you that wants you to be miserable.
Yeah.